Every second, the world's population grows. And with it, people are on the move. From bustling megacities to quiet rural towns, from local commutes to international migrations, our lives are shaped by where we live and how we move. In this video, we will explore the story of global population and mobility. How people are distributed across the planet. Why they move. And what these movements mean for our shared future. This is group number 4.
In 2010, there were only 6.9 billion people in the world. So this shows how quickly the world adds up hundreds of millions in a short period of time. The fertility rate worldwide was about 2.51 children per woman. So meaning to say each woman in the world has 2 to 3 children in her lifetime. And then, the number of people per kilometer is 76. So, this means that every 1 kilometer of land, there were only about 76 people living there. In the year of 2018, the population of the world was growing at a rate of 1.09% per year. It means that in 2018, the total number of people on Earth increased by a little more than 1% compared to the year before. In 2017, the growth rate was about 1.12%. So, the 2018 rate of 1.09% is slightly slower, showing that growth is slowing. And in 2016, the growth rate was 1.14%. This is higher than 2017 and 2018. So, we can see a small but steady decline over these 3 years. The current average population increase is estimated at 83 million per year. So even though the percentage is going down, the world is still adding about 83 million more people every year because the total population is already really large. The annual growth rate of world population was its highest in the late 1960s, reaching around 2% per year. So means that during this time, the total population increased by 2%, which is very fast. After the 1960s, the rate of increase has nearly halved, meaning it went down around 1% per year in recent years. So each decade, the percentage will get smaller. It is estimated to reach 1% by 2023, less than 0.5% by 2052, and it expected to be 0.25% in 2076, with a yearly 27 million people, bringing the total of population to about 10.7 billion. So even though 27 million people is a lot, compared to the size of world population, it is very small percentage. By 2100, the growth rate should be only 0.09%, which equals an addition of only 10 million people each year, leading to a total of population to about 11.2 billion. This shows that at the end of the century, the population growth will be extremely slow. The world population growth rate started very high, which is 2% in the late 1960s, but it has been falling for decades. It will keep dropping from 1% by 2023 to below 0.05% by 2052, 0.25% by 2076, and only 0.9% by 2100. Even though the total number of people will still increase to 11.2 billion. According to projections, the world population may reach to 10 billion by the year of 2055 and 11 billion by the year of 2088. So here the top 20 largest countries by population live. The rank 1, China. China has 1.4 billion people. This is the most largest population. The second one, rank 2, India. India has 1.3 billion of people, second to the largest population. Rank 3, USA. USA has 326 million people. Rank 4, Indonesia. It has 266 million people. Rank 5, Brazil. Brazil has 210 million of people. Rank 6, Pakistan. Pakistan had 199 million of people. Rank 7, Nigeria. It has 194 million people. Rank 8, Bangladesh. It has 165 million people. Rank 9, Russia. Russia has 143 million people. Rank 10, Mexico. Mexico has 130 million people. Rank 11, Japan. Japan has 127 million people. Rank 12, Ethiopia. It has 106 million people. Rank 13, Philippines. It has 106 million. Even though our country has a small land and area, kasali pa din siya sa top largest countries by population. Rank 14, Egypt. Egypt has 98 million people. Rank 15, Vietnam. It has 96 million people. Rank 16, DR Congo. It has 83 million people. Rank 17, Germany. It has 82 million people. Rank 18, Iraq. It has 81 million people. Rank 19, Turkey. It has 81 million people. Rank 20, Thailand. It has 69 million people. So these numbers are the live estimates, meaning they show approximately population at that time. So let's now move forward to the world population forecast, 2020 to 2055. So in the year of 2020, July 1, na merong population na 7.7 billion, yearly percent change nagkaroon ng 1.09%, yearly change 82 million, median age 31, fertility rate 2.47, density per kilometer 78, urban pop percent 55.6%, sa urban population naman is 4.3 billion. So in the year of 2025 July 1, the population is 8.1 billion. Yearly percent change is 0.98%. Yearly change 78 million. Median age 32. Fertility rate 2.43. Density per kilometer 82. Sa 2025 naman ng July, may population na 8.1 billion. Yearly percent change 0.98%. Yearly change 78 million. Median age 32. Fertility rate 2.43. Density per kilometer 82. Urban pop percent 57.5%. Sa urban population naman, merong 4.7 billion. So, for you to understand deeply, this discussion explains that the world population will keep growing in the 21st centuries, but more slowly than before. From 1959 to 1999, the population doubled from 3 billion to 6 billion. It will take almost another 40 years to adjust another 50% and reach 4 billion by 2037.
Global mobility. Global migration is the flow or movement of people from one place to another around the world. The main purpose of migration is to find work or employment. Now let's move forward to trends in global mobility. The IOM's or International Organization for Migration Global Migration Trends Fact sheet present a snapshot of the major migration trends worldwide for the year 2015 based on statistics from a variety of sources. Considering the state of migration globally in 2015, the following facts stand out. In 2015, the number of international migrants worldwide, people residing in a country other than their country of birth, was the highest ever recorded, having reached 244 million from 232 million in 2013. As a share of the world population, however, international migration has remained fairly constant over the past decades at around 3%, while female migrants constitute only 48% of the international migrant stock worldwide and 42% in Asia. Women make up the majority of international migrants in Europe, 52.4%, and North America, 51.2%. South-South migration flows across developing countries continue to grow compared to South-North movements from developing to developed countries. In 2015, 90.2 million international migrants born in developing countries resided in other countries in the global south, while 85.3 million born in the south resided in countries in the global north. Germany became the second most popular destination for international migrants globally in absolute numbers, following the United States and preceding the Russian Federation, with an estimated 12 million foreign-born residing in the country in 2015 against 46.6 million in the US and 11.9 million in the Russian Federation as a proportion of the host country's population. However, numbers of international migrants continue to be highest in Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The foreign-born population makes up 88.4% of the total population in the United Arab Emirates, 75.7% in Qatar, and 73.6% in Kuwait. Close to 1 in 5 migrants in the world live in the top 20 largest cities according to IOM's World Migration Report 2015. International migrants make up over a third of the total population in cities like Sydney, Auckland, Singapore, and London, and at least 1 in 4 residents in Amsterdam, Frankfurt, and Paris is foreign. Year 2015 saw the highest levels of forced displacement globally recorded since World War II, with a dramatic increase in the number of refugees, asylum seekers, and internally displaced people across various regions of the world, from Africa to the Middle East and South Asia. The world hosted 15.1 million refugees by mid-2015. This is a 45% increase compared to 3.5 years ago, largely due to continued conflict in the Syrian Arab Republic, now well into its 5th year. Some 8.6 million persons were newly displaced in 2015 alone.
In 2015, Germany also became the largest single recipient of the first-time individual asylum claims globally, with almost 442,000 applications lodged in the country by the end of the year. The number of asylum claims worldwide almost doubled between the end of 2014 and the first half of 2015, from 558,000 pending applications at the end of 2014 to almost 1 million by the end of June 2015. This figure continued to increase, rising to about 3.2 million pending asylum applications globally by the end of 2015. By the end of 2015, the EU or European Union as a whole received over 1.2 million first-time asylum claims, more than double the number of registered in 2014, and it almost 563,000 and double the levels recorded in 1992. And then 15 member states, and it's almost 672 applications. The increase in 2015 is largely due to higher numbers of asylum claims from Syrians, Afghans, and Iraqs. Almost 1 in 3 first-time asylum applicants in the EU were minors, a 9% increase compared to 2014 levels. Also, 1 in 4 those were judged to be unaccompanied by national authorities, the highest number since 2008, and a threefold increase on numbers registered in 2014. And still, the vast majority of refugees continue to be hosted by developing countries, particularly those that are proximate to the refugees' countries of origin. For instance, the bulk of Syrian refugee population is hosted by Turkey, and almost 2.2 million, and the Lebanon is 1.2 million. And the last is Jordan, and is almost 630,000 according to figures recorded in December 2015. And also, most forced displacement globally still occurs within countries' borders, with an estimated 38 million people internally displaced by conflict and violence at the end of 2014 from Iraq to South Sudan, from Syria to the Democratic Republic of Congo and Nigeria. The year 2015 was also the deadliest year for migrants. Increased levels of forced displacement globally were tragically accompanied by record high numbers of people perishing or going missing while trying to cross international borders. Over 5,400 migrants worldwide are estimated to have died or gone missing in 2015. According to IOM's Missing Migrant Project, migrant fatalities during migration to Europe increased by 15% compared to the previous year, reaching at least 3,770 from 2014 to 2015. A major and sudden shift in routes of irregular migration by sea to Europe occurred, with about 853,000 arriving to Greece compared to almost 154,000 to Italy, as opposed to about 34,400 and 170,000 respectively in 2014. In 2015, the number of voluntary returns of migrants, an example, failed asylum seeker and other groups from EU countries, was for the first time higher than the number of forced returns, 81,681 against 72,473. Moreover, the number of IOM assist voluntary returns from EU member states, Norway and Switzerland in 2015 reached a figure of almost 56,000. New estimates for the number of migrant workers globally shows that the large majority of international migrants in the world are migrant workers. Migrants have higher labor force participation than non-migrants, particularly due to higher labor force participation rates for migrant women relative to non-migrant women. Remittances continue to climb globally while remittance sending costs remain relatively high. The sum of financial remittances sent by international migrants back to their families in origin countries amounted to an estimated $581 billion in 2015, over three-quarters of which were sent to low end of the country's GDP. However, average remittance transfer costs were still middle-income economies. In Tajikistan, remittances constituted over 40% at 7.5% of the amount sent in the third quarter of 2015, higher than the 3% minimum target set in the Sustainable Development Goals to be met by 2030. Remittance transfer costs are particularly high in sub-Saharan Africa, now standing at 9.5% on average. Finally, public opinion towards migration globally is more favorable than commonly perceived, with a notable exception of Europe, according to an IOM Gallup report.
Good day everyone. Today I will discuss the different factors that influence migration and population movements. Migration is the movement of people from one place to another, either within a country or across borders, and it happens for many reasons. So let's go through the main factors one by one. First, social, political, economic, and ecological factors. Ito yung mga broad categories that affect migrations. For example, if a country has political instability, weak job opportunities, or environmental problems, people are more likely to leave. On the other hand, people are attracted to countries that are safer, healthier, and more stable. Second, communal violence and intolerance. Violence caused by ethnic or religious conflicts is one of the strongest reasons for migrations. For instance, when people face discrimination, war, or persecution, they may be forced to flee and look for safety in another country. So ito yung mga dahilan why we often hear about refuge-escaping war zones or areas with political unrest. Third is economic disparity. Between countries, there's a big difference between the economies of developed countries. So dahil dito, many skilled workers from poorer countries move to the richer nations where can earn higher salaries and live better lives. Like for example, if temporary migration visas allow workers to move to another country for a period of time, which increase the rates of circular migration, meaning they can go back and forth between countries. Fourth, ecological or environmental changes. The environment also has a strong effect on migration. When there are problems like drought, flooding, or climate change, food and water supplies become limited. So this forces people to move to area where these resources are more available. For example, yung mga farmers may leave rural areas hit by drought and migrate to cities or other countries in search of survival. And fifth, fertility, mortality, and migration rates. These are three elements influence the overall size of populations. So yung mga may hirap na countries usually grow faster because they have high birth rates, often due to the absence of reliable family planning or contraceptions. On the other hand, richer countries grow more slowly, but their growth also comes from people migrating it. Demographics or population experts calculate growth by subtracting the crude death rate from the crude birth rate. So lastly, the level of industrialization. Industrious countries like United States and those in Europe usually have low population growth but strong economies. So ito yung mga countries na nag-a-attract ng mga migrants because of better job opportunities and higher living standards. Pero on the other hand, high-growth countries such as those in Africa and Latin America tend to be less industrialized, which limits opportunities and often pushes people to migrate elsewhere. In summary of all of that, migration and population movements are influenced by many interconnected factors: political, economic situations, violence, safety, environmental condition, fertility, mortality, and the level of industrialization. People move because they want a better life, more opportunities, or simply to survive in difficult conditions. So ito yung mga dahilan why migrations is such an important issue in today's globalization world.
Global mobility is crucial for companies to stay competitive and grow in the current global market. Due to various factors like global production opportunities, the need for research and development, and the push for better customer service and sales, companies are sending more employees abroad for a wide range of roles. However, this is happening at a time of significant global market uncertainty and cost pressure. Therefore, it is essential for company leaders to carefully and strategically manage their global mobility programs to ensure they are effective and cost efficient. In short, companies need to balance the necessity of having global workforce with the need to manage costs in a challenging economic environment. Global mobility is a win-win for you and your employer. Feel global mobility is the rise of many employee wants passport with foreign nation stamps to bolster personal growth and career development. In Increasingly, they are seeking expatriate, commuter, rotational, or other alternative assignments to build their resumes. International assignments are a great career development tool and at the same time help organizations address talent shortage, close skill gaps, and accelerate. Company wants to send talent around the globe without purpose. But for those organizations that do have multinational operations, increasing the availability of international assignments can help draw talent to the organization and secure the talent already in place, all while providing individuals with new skills, opportunities for international travel, new challenges, and the experience needed to progress their careers. Business growth making it a win for both parties. The trend is riding a global wave, BRIC, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Countries, the UAE and Qatar, are emerging as talent hotspots driven by shifting economic growth. By 2025, the gross domestic product of Shanghai and Beijing will be larger than Los Angeles and London, yet global companies operating in China already find it difficult to find and retain. Global City, also called World City, or sometimes Alpha City or World Center, is a city generally considered to be an important node in the global economic system. The concept comes from geography and urban studies and the idea that globalization can be understood as largely created, facilitated, and enacted in strategic geographies, locales, according to a hierarchy of importance to the operation of the global system of finance. The most complex of these entities is the global city, whereby the linkage binding a city have a direct and tangible effect on global affairs through socioeconomic means. The use of global city as opposed to mega city was popularized by sociologist Saskia Sassen in her 1991 work, The Global City, New York, London, Tokyo, although the term world city, which refers to cities involved with large amounts of global business, dates to at least May 1886 description of Liverpool by the Illustrated London News. Patrick Geddes also used the term world cities later in 1915. More recently, the term has been described as being synonymous with a city influence and financial capital, with other factors becoming less relevant.
Have you ever wondered what makes some cities stand out as the world cities? The place that shape our economy, culture, and even politics. Let's break it down. First up, world cities are the financial powerhouses. They get everything: international banking, insurance, real estate, marketing, and those bustling stock exchanges that never cease to sleep. They're home to the headquarters of multinational companies. Think of New York, London, or Hong Kong, where big decisions that affect the whole world are made every single day. On top of that, many of the cities dominate regional trade with major ports and container facilities. They don't just serve their country, they save the world. World cities hold huge decision-making power. They where new ideas are born in business, culture, politics, and even technology. But there's a catch. Population and demographic plays a massive role in all this. Cities grow fast because of migration, both from rural areas from people moving across the borders. This means governments have to invest in education, healthcare, and jobs to keep it up. If they get it right, like East Asia or Ireland, demographics can drive rapid growth. If not, it can hold the city back. And the future? Well, it's tricky. Things like climate change, new technologies, migration, and even what's make predicting growth super uncertain. So world cities aren't just big, they're global engine of money, ideas, culture, understanding how they grow, help us prepare for the challenge of
Global demography looks at how population patterns have changed worldwide over the last 50 years. According to David E. Bloom and David Canning, the world has moved from high birth and death rates to a more stable demographic pattern. As child and infant mortality rates declined, population grew rapidly. This was followed by falling fertility rates, but populations continued due to population momentum. The continued growth caused by a previously high number of births. A major outcome of this demographic shift is the rise of bulge generation, a large group of working-age individuals now seen in many countries. While this can boost economic growth, it also means that in the future, these people will age and become part of growing elderly population, which presents economic and social challenges. Previously, experts debate whether population growth impact economic growth. New evidence now shows that changes in age structure, especially more people of working age, can lead to faster economic growth, both from productivity and behavioral changes. Different regions such as Asia, Ireland, and Sub-Saharan Africa provide examples of how demographic influence economic development. Migration, both internal, rural to urban, and international, adds further complexity to population trends. Understanding demographic change is essential for planning policies on labor, education, retirement, and healthcare. However, predicting future trends is challenging due to uncertainties like health changes, lifespan, technological developments, migration, and climate change.
So next on our list is transitionalism and migration. But first, let us give the definition of what transitionalism and migration is. Pero kung tutuusin, there are a lot of different meanings of transitionalism. But let's look at the textbook. Transitionalism refers to the process by which migrants create and maintain multiple social, economic, political, and cultural ties across national borders. It highlights the way individuals and communities sustain connections with both their country of origin and their host country, resulting in overlapping identities, practices, and networks that transcend a single nation-state. Sa madaling salita, transitionalism just basically means that no matter where we are, no matter what country we're in, we never forget our country where we grew up with, or kung saan tayo lumaki, kung ano man yung kultura natin doon, hindi natin makakalimutan kahit nasaan pa tayo. Maybe we're adapting to kung anong meron ng bansang yun, but at the same time, we still have what we have back in our own country, or we bring it with us no matter where we go. That's what transitionalism means. So let's imagine this. Pumunta ka sa Amerika at isa kang Filipino na bagong migrate doon. You have fully embraced the US culture, and yet nandito pa rin yung dugong Pilipino mo. So you still eat your adobo and you are still politically aware of what's happening in the Philippines. Kagaya nga ng mga tong lumalabas na to. Safe pa din ba si Jingoy Estrada? In transitionalism, you already accepted the fact that you are an American-abiding citizen, while at the same time, you're still a Filipino-blooded. Now that we're done talking about transitionalism, let's now move on to our next topic, which is migration. When we talk about migration, it is the movement of people from one place to another, either within a country or across international borders, with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently in the new location. It may be voluntary or forced, and it is often driven by economic, political, social, or environmental factors. In the Philippines, there are approximately 2.2 million overseas Filipino workers. That is 2.2 individuals that left behind their families here in the Philippines for a better future instead of staying to their country. In the factors that often driven migration, the Philippines are guilty in almost every factor of migration. First is economic. The economy of the Philippines has been staggering with inflation, high prices of essential needs, which is why many Filipinos choose to go overseas to work to provide for their family. Next is political. The Philippines are known as a corrupt country, and there is no denying that the reason why many of us migrate is because of the ongoing corruption that has never been solved ever since. The trust of the people and the government has eradicated. That is why many people choose to leave the country in search of a better life. And lastly, the environment. Because of the high poverty rate of the Philippines, many Filipinos choose to migrate in order to find and work for a better life. They want to get out of poverty for themselves and also for their family. Because of the environment of the Philippines, opportunity for a better life is low, and that is why migration is their answer.
The experiences of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs reflect the complexities of migration, transnationalism, and the challenges that come with being away from home. While OFWs contribute greatly to the Philippine economy, their absence often leaves families vulnerable to social, emotional, and economic issues. One of the most publicized cases was the execution of Chakatia Pawa, an OFW in Kuwait. On January 25, 2017, Pawa was executed after being convicted of murdering her employer's daughter. Despite claiming innocence, her case drew widespread attention, sparking last-minute protests, prayers, and appeals from the Philippine government and the advocacy groups, all of which failed to prevent her execution. Bago ang execution ni Pawa ay tinawagan niya ang kanyang mga pamilya upang ipaalam ito sa kanila. Dahil sa sunod-sunod na kaso ng pang-aabuso, pagkapatay at karahasan laban sa mga OFW sa Kuwait, nagpasya ang pamahalaang Duterte noong 2018 na ipataw ang employment. And also, the absence of OFWs has created vulnerabilities for their children left behind in the Philippines. Based on the reports from Mindanao Migrant Center of Empowering Actions Incorporation in Davao City, between 2014 and 2017, there were 132 recorded cases of abused OFW children, with 35% involving abuse and molestation. Cases including sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, and economic abuse. Additional problems faced by the OFW children were abandonment by parents and guardians, teenage pregnancies, school dropouts, and internet addiction. In a 2017 ANAC OFW workshop conference, 20 children of active OFWs disclosed experiences of sexual abuse. Other forms of exploitation, such as bullying, exposure to illegal drugs, and abortion, were also reported.
In 2017, the Congressional District ANAC OFW ay nagkaroon ng 3 days workshop consultation sa Davao City. Ayon sa MMC-EAI or Mindanao Migrant Center for Empowering Action Inc., ito ay nagsimula noong October 16 na dinaluhan ng 132 na mga anak ng mga OFW. Most of the children were 14 to 17 years of age and were largely comprised of female participants at 70.45%. After 3 consultations held last October 16, 18, and 21, another event was held on October 30 where the children voiced out their concerns to local government na kung saan 20 sa kanila ang nakaranas ng sexual abuse, 40 naman ang nakaranas ng teenage pregnancy at 32 naman ang tuluyan ng inabandona ng kanilang mga magulang at 26 ang tuluyan ng nag-drop out sa school. It is according to Elento, the Executive Director of MMC-EAI. With that,
The MMCEAI also called out the government's attention to speed up the setting up an OFW Center as provided under the City Ordinance 056-08 or OFW Center Ordinance, which was passed in January 2008. In the ordinance, Elento said an OFW Coordinating Council will be created to lead the establishment of the center. The programs could be implemented gradually until it will be established fully, and government must think that they should not only focus on the OFWs but on their families as well, she said. Elento said they hope to meet with City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio to lobby for the immediate implementation of the ordinance. Aside from the lack of OFW Center, Elento said the Davao City for a long time has no comprehensive data on the number of OFWs and their families to assist the government and non-government organizations in monitoring the situations of OFWs' families. Where the promise of bright future for the families of OFWs was also contradicted by the 4 cases of children who had to beg and work as scavengers. Lastly, they urged the local government units to create opportunities and provide employment for the parents of these children so they would no longer to go abroad.